All right, we're gonna head this over to Jake. Jake, how you doing down? And where are you today?
This is my house. This is my studio. I'm sorry. I don't know if I was a pain when we were trying to take a picture earlier, but I was like, had a Zoom writing session on this screen and talking to you guys. So I've just been here all day, every day, just writing and hanging.
But where is here?
I'm sorry. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm from Philadelphia, but I live in Nashville.
And what are you gonna be? Who are your influences?
Oh, geez. Too many to name.
Pick a
My
few.
my favorite music was the Beatles and Bruce Springsteen and Carole King and songwriters. But I play in a pop band, so I'm listening to so much awesome '80s music and everything from Joy Division through Nirvana, and I'm a producer full time, so it's kind of whatever. But I mostly play folk music when I'm just playing myself.
Wonderful. And what are we gonna hear tonight?
I'm putting out an EP in like 3 weeks or something, and I'm putting out uh, a song at midnight tonight called Tides, which is the name of the EP. So I figured I would play that first.
Great. What is it about?
That's a good. I'm not. I usually have a pretty clear idea of what my songs are about. This one, it's about me. I don't know. It really kind of just came, and it started out kind of as a letter to New York, where my whole family is from, and I've always wanted to live in New York. And I didn't do that. Made a very sort of calculated. It's a weird choice because I'm not in a calculated business, but I made a pretty calculated choice to come down here and start working here. And I was a little bummed that I couldn't go up to the city. So it started out as that, and it's about a lot of things. It's hard to describe.
Well, let's listen. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I don't know about you and but I'm missing the city lights, and I'm done trying to change this time. So I'll roll with the tide where I go. The days, they come and fade away. The nights feel like the best mistake, and I wait for the Sunday rain. So I'll wait in the tide where I go. All the city lights, all the river tides, the smell of the bar after 9 keeps me hanging on all these concrete walls till my time arrives with the tide. Well, you got quite a hold on me, and you won't be around to see how you sailed into everything, every word of the tide where I go. All these city lights, all the river tides, the smell of the bar after 9 keeps me hanging on all these concrete walls till my time arrives with the tide. Love, I'll be back soon enough. and love's nothing but time and trust. So love, I'll be your wanderlust, and we'll roll with the tides as we go. Roll with the tides as we go.
Wow. Wow. I love that. That was wonderful. Wow.
Appreciate it.
That was really, really, that was nice.
Thanks. Let's switch gears, I guess.
Go for it. Whatever you're feeling.
Yeah. Well, I haven't played. So mostly what I do is I write and produce other artists. So I'm always really excited when I get to do stuff like this. But I want to play you a song I wrote in like April, May, June. I was touring a couple years ago with my buddy Rustin Kelly, who's one of my favorite songwriters. And if there's any universe in which anybody has heard of me and hasn't heard of Rustin, fix it. He is just a beautiful, beautiful guy and a fantastic artist. But when I was touring in his band, I met my friend Katie Pruitt, who's another great singer-songwriter, and we wrote this for her. And what she generally does is write by herself, but we were just talking a couple ideas down when we got together to write. And we started this song, and it really just kind of was, we were feeling tired and sad that everything was closing and that everything was closed. But one thing that we tapped into after a lot of the social justice and civil rights protests and demonstrations were happening was just a feeling of we were just tired, you know. I think we all got kind of tired and we got woken up. Anyway, so at the risk of sounding maybe a little angry, this song is called Look the Other Way. They bulldozed over the memories to build apartments with amenities and left the low-income families broke on the outskirts of town. Might be the change on the surface that bothers me, or the underlying lack of humanity. Might be a little of everything, but I can never quite pin it down. And I get pissed when people tell me that's the way it is, as if that's all that they know how to say. When you walk past, do you even stop and ask? Or have you learned to look the other way? The devil's wearing a suit and tie, swearing on the Bible, there's a twitch in his eye. I guess every crook's got an alibi, as long as they got money to blow. 'Cause every last dollar goes to feeding the machine, so they can keep on selling the American dream, while our TV dinners and Photoshop screens just keep on killing us slowly. And I get pissed when people tell me that's the way it is. It feels like that's all they know how to say. So sad to watch you give up the little power you have, all because you'd rather look the other way. Headlines are bleeding red, the name of a man that I've never met, cuffed on the street with a knee on his neck and tears spilling out of his eyes. Well, are we heartless or are we numb? Changing the channel on the television, telling ourselves that we're not Thanks.
Really, the lyrics. Wow, I hear you. I hear you.
Thank you. That's Katie, man. She's brave. Yeah, she's brave. I didn't know, well, when she put that out, I think it really captured kind of what we were all feeling, and that's what's cool about working with artists, is I couldn't have made a moment out of that song the way that she really did. So I'd go buy Katie Pruitt records. She's great.
So how do you produce yourself?
I really don't like to do it all by myself. I started doing it a lot. Like, how do I produce
You.
my Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I do it myself, like for me, it's hard to do all by myself. I mean, I think I've learned every time I get a validation, anytime somebody records one of my songs or anytime somebody likes a record I've made, I think I get validation that what I'm doing doesn't suck, so I can kind of
Definitely doesn't suck.
thank you. So I get confidence to do it more, but I really like to have other people on it. And I usually like to have at least one producer, co-producer. I write a lot with my friend Sean Trainer, and we're kind of part of the same mind musically. So if he tells me something's bad, I know that he's telling me the truth, and he knows I'm gonna like it if I do it a different way. So the way that I do it myself is I try to get co-producers as soon as I can.
Well, the truth matters, right? So that you want to be able to make sure that your sound is your authentic. It sounds good, and
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
but it's also art, and so sometimes you have to go with what you feel.
Yeah, I think always, I think it's good to think about stuff, and you gotta refine. I don't really subscribe to the way of thinking that all work is started and finished in, 10 minutes, but the initial spark a lot of times comes right away, but you gotta work it to the ground. This thing I'm putting out tomorrow, this EP was recorded like 3.5 years ago, which I don't really recommend doing. That's kind of crazy, but um,
I
but
hear
it
you.
it took a lot.
What's next?
I'll play you. Yeah, I'll play you a song I wrote a lot like 3.5 years ago. This is the first song from my EP Tides that I put out, and I put it out in September, October. I'm quite disorganized when it comes to my own artist project, but this song is just kind of about patience, and it became sort of my mantra when my voice went berserk. I injured my voice pretty badly. I think cheering for the Eagles. But because my doctors told me it wasn't my singing. But anyway, this song was written way before that, but it kind of served as my mantra. You got to wait it out. I had to do a bunch of physical therapy and speech therapy and surgery and stuff. So this was kind of the song that, for me, I was just sort of telling myself, you got to wait it out sometimes. Anyway, so this is about patience, and it's called Grateful to Ground. I just want to also quick shout out to 88.5 XPN in Philly for playing this. That was the coolest thing that happened a couple weeks ago. Oh, how grateful the ground must be when the wind brings it fruit from the trees, spends its whole life looking up, wanting a taste, but I'm still waiting. Oh, how thankful the sand must be for the moon pulling tides, 'cause the shore loves the sea. When the water line lowers, it'll soon rise again. I'm still waiting. Anything I want to hold, everything I can't control, all that I am waiting on is gonna take time. And every time I try to be patient, I get tired of waiting. But how grateful the ground must be. unfold everything I can't control. All that I am waiting on is gonna take time. And every time I try to be patient, I get tired of waiting. But how grateful the ground must be. Trust when it's all that you chase. Every single dream I dream, voices in the summer breeze tell me if I don't believe, it's never gonna fall. And every time I try to be patient, I get tired of waiting. But how grateful the ground must be.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Really, that was very nice.
Appreciate it, man. Do I do another one?
Please.
Yes. Sweet. This is a song. This is the first song I guess I technically put out, unless I start to delete all my stuff off of Spotify one day. But can't imagine that'll happen. I put out I put out an EP called Bridges last year around this time, and this was the first song that came out. We wrote it. I wrote it with my friends Sean and Sierra, and Sean produces my stuff with me. And we wrote it in 2016 when it seemed like it couldn't get any more fucked up. Anyway, it took us a while. We wrote it and we thought it was impressive and we thought it was special, and we were like, we got to pitch it to somebody, and none of us had publishing deals, so it was hard to do. And we did so many versions of this song, and then at some point, I think I asked him if I could record it, and he wanted to record it because it was his idea and thought it was totally cool. And then finally, I was like, look, man, you haven't done anything with this. Like, let me please point a mic at me. I just need to play this song. So we recorded it, and their version came out earlier this year, and I love it. Mine is very much like this, and it's just kind of about what I really felt like it was sort of supposed to be about. When I moved down to Tennessee, I would have really interesting and provocative discussions with people that I thought, were totally nuts, or just believed stuff that I had no interest in entertaining. And they were really good conversations, and more often than not, they ended with a handshake, or a beer, or a high five, or a, hey, agree to disagree, but let's watch some football or something, which doesn't always, solve every problem, or any problems, but it really makes the world, I think, a better place when you can kind of ask people what their story is. And what I find is people are far less afraid of other people than they are of just not surviving. And anyway, this was just kind of came out of some of those conversations I had with people, and it's called Bridges because art does not like walls. There's a bridge, and it is wide. It's what keeps us together, and it's the reason we divide. Some days it's strong, some days it's weak, some days it's narrow and a little out of reach. Some choose to build it up, some choose to tear it down, leave it to ruins, say the world is too unwound. But there's a high road that stands above the things we've lost, 'cause 'Cause all bridges are meant for us to cross. There's a bridge, and it is long, and every passing conversation is a choice of right or wrong. It's who we are now, not what we've done before. It stands tall above the rivers and flows through our love. Some go the distance, some choose to stay behind. And it's the changing of your heart that can open up a mind. There's a high road, it stands above the things we've lost. All bridges are meant for us to cross. Meant for us to cross. The longer we wait, the harder it will be tomorrow. There's no guarantee how much time we have to borrow. There's a bridge from you to me. If we don't work to hold it steady, it'll break beneath our feet. There's a high road, it stands above what we have lost. All bridges are meant for us to cross. All bridges are meant for us to cross. Thank you guys.
Wow, that was great.
Thanks.
That was really, really nice. Wow, Jake, that was wonderful.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Of
So, you will you come back? We invite you back to come back to another show. Yes.
course, I'd love that. That'd be great. Yeah.
Well, really, I'd like to thank you. It's I was just taking in the music and taking in the moment, and really grateful to hear you. And
Thanks.
thank you for sharing the stories behind your songs and
Yeah, yeah.
being present. And I guess I'm going to wrap up the show. We're going to hang out for a few minutes afterwards, but I do need to recognize the producers, Lauren and Harry, who are keeping things settled and keeping things running. So thank you guys. And I will give a shout out to Lexi, to Hannah, to Chris, to Chercy, to Brian, to Tanya, Aaron, and Al over at Original Gossip, to Jacob, and to you, Jake. Thank you. This is Jeff's place. This is a place in our collective imagination, but it's a place which brings us all together as one world, really, where we're able to cross the boundaries, across the sea. And in the end, it's all about love. It's all about music. It's all about us together as one, together as people. So thank you for helping to co-create the magic.